everybody. We are back. A couple of technical problems there. Anyway, we are back with Burge Smith-Lyons. Welcome, Burge.
Thank you, Nikki. I'm glad to be here. And this happens all the time with me with our electronics.
I know it's something that happens to me a lot as well, unfortunately. But anyway, we're here now, so that's really important and really exciting. And I am so excited that you are here. For those who don't know Burge, she has been in this field for many years, and she was the person responsible for my awakening. So, Burge, you want to tell everybody a bit more about yourself?
Sure. So I've been teaching Essence of Being for now almost 30 years. I've been involved in personal development for almost 37 years, 38 years now, and I've taught on 6 continents. So I have online and in person, but I have an arrangement of things with Essence of Being, my Conscious Leadership Academy, and of course, our Healing Force Foundation, which is our nonprofit arm, and also Shamanasta I channel as well. So I tap into people's, their emotional, their spiritual, their physical, their mental. We work with all people, men, women, children, companies, all kinds of different places and people, but we access all of those modalities and all of those aspects. So it's a whole being experience. But I think today we're just going to zero in, right, on the channeling part.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm pinning you down here on the channeling today. So that's something very exciting, and that's something that I've actually seen her do on a couple of occasions, and it's really, really cool. Really cool. So anybody who has not ever seen anybody channel, do come over, because on the 20th we actually have a fabulous half a day session with Burge, and can I tell them about it?
Okay, if you have to, Nikki, it's a secret.
No, yes. I was too excited. I was going to let you talk about it.
No, you
can. About it. So basically, on the 20th of February, Burge is we're going to have this session. It's going to be a whole morning session, and people are going to be able to come in, and they're going to be able to ask questions to Shamanasta, which is, just explain what Shamanasta is.
Okay, sure. So Shamanasta, so just so you understand all the different workshops and things that I do and teach, Shamanasta doesn't come in necessarily in those. They come in into different other classes, but they are a group soul, and I didn't ask for this, and I can tell you the origin story of all of this too once you want me to do that. But basically, I was teaching and doing a lot of conscious work anyway, but then I got a little tap, and again, if you want me to tell you that story now, or I can tell it later about how I started with it all, but they're a group soul, and they are 5th dimension and beyond. And what they do is they come in, and I'm a trans channel. Didn't know it. Didn't think I had no idea. It just sort of happened, and then I developed it over time. And so they come in and they share things from that perspective, and they also help people specifically and globally.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I want to, explain to people as well. It's like anything spiritual. Some people are more adapt or whatever at a certain thing. Okay, so people can be, there's all different levels of channels, and Burge is a really, really good channel. So tell us all about how it started. Yes.
Well, okay, yeah, and on that note, there are trans channels, conscious channels, empaths, channel writers, clairsentient, clairsavant, clairaudient, clairvoyant. There's a lot of different. We test people for their clairs and their skill, so you can learn what your specific gift is and how to utilize that and embrace that, and what to do with it. Because when I was teaching workshops, and I was a conscious channel, I was an empath, I knew all of those things, but I didn't actually allow myself to bring in another energy to speak through me. That was not what I did, right? But my dad died, so I was already teaching all around the world doing this. My dad died, and about a year after I did a ceremony, and about a year after he died, I did a little ceremony, and I wanted to um, connect with him. So I said, okay, I'm going to now connect with my dad. I did a ceremony, and then I was by myself, and I was looking at a candle because it's a ceremony that I share with people when people pass through the veil, what they can do to connect. And I was doing that, and all of a sudden I felt chills. I was burning up on the inside, but the outside of my body was cold as ice, but inside I was burning up. And then I looked behind me and I saw a door kind of open up by itself. It's one of those woo woo weird kind of things, and I'm like, oh damn, what's going to happen, right? So I kind of freaked out, and I went over to the mirror and I looked at myself, and I swear I was white as a ghost. And so I know why they say that now, because the pigment had gone out of my body. And I was trembling, and I said, oh my God, Dad. And I felt my dad's presence. And I'm like, Dad, no, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I meant. This is kind of too freaky. I didn't mean for this to happen this way. Well, what ended up happening is I laid in bed and I vibrated for a while. And then the next day, I was at ease and at peace, and I felt a sense of calm and connection and completion. And I realized, because I was, like I said, I was teaching all over the place, and I told somebody about it, and they said, "Oh, you just channeled information. You opened up a vortex and you channeled." I'm like, "Oh, great. Why? Why did I do this? Why was this happening to me? I didn't say I am now going to channel. I didn't sit down to intend for that. However, through the process of learning how to keep myself grounded and open up, I really connected. It's sort of like a radio station, and you have all these different channels that you can kind of like connect to. And so I started connecting, and the one that came through the most and that I felt easy with was Shamanasta. They named themselves because you ask, who are you? And they came through, and they said they were Shamanasta, and then we did an etymology of the name, and it was this really powerful ancient, name that, and namaste and shaman and all that stuff. And it's kind of cool to go back and understand where the name came from. But they explained it was like a group soul. Now, I knew Esther Hicks and I knew Abraham, and we were doing things together. And I contacted her and I said, so is this what happened to you? And she said, yes, that's exactly, so we kind of commiserated on how this worked. And, she had Jerry, and then I had Brad, who is my husband, and he was my grounding cord. And so I could explore, and I kept asking myself, why? Okay, I'll do this, but why? What's the benefit of doing this, and what's the outcome? Because I was used to working with people on an emotional level, a spiritual level, and a lot of different modalities so that they could raise their vibration and their consciousness. And I thought, well, if this will do that, and if this is part of my toolbox, okay, I'll go ahead, and it developed from there, and I kept exploring it and kept fine tuning it. And they come in and out pretty easily. And I do a lot of group channeling, and I do private channeling and that kind of thing. So that's kind of how it started. And I asked myself all the questions that people probably ask themselves. Why are you doing this? What's the value of this? I mean, just to have a knowing or having an experience. Now, what do I do with it? And so it really helped also develop the workshops in Essence of Being, because they gave us all kinds of cool stuff to do. So I got all this channeled information on how to work with people on a whole different level. So that's what happened. And I just kept doing it. And that happened in 1996.
Wow. Yeah. It's a long time then, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy for you now, because I know a lot of people are very scared when they put themselves to one side, but now I suppose it's just the norm for you.
Oh yeah. And the cool thing about it is that, they're around a lot all the time, and they can sense when it's time, or I can go in and out pretty quickly. And what happens though is it cleanses me. It feels like I feel lighter afterwards. And so I know that they're working with me on a physical level when I'm there, and I've learned how to consciously come in and out. So um, oftentimes when I started channeling to begin with, I would freak out. I would become more conscious of it, and then they would leave, and I wouldn't be able to hold the energy or let it come through me. So I've learned how to, if I come back in consciously, because I don't remember what I'm saying, I don't remember what they say and all of that, but sometimes I've learned how to come in and just listen. And it comes in pictures, and it comes in like blocks of thought. And so I see pictures. And so people will tell me afterwards, hey, you said this and this, they were crying, and you know how it is. You
No, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've had experience of that. Absolutely, yes. Yes, Shaman Asta does, and how he actually says things. I'm saying he, but
right?
Not he. But anyway, they said, a lot of things that made a lot of sense to a lot of people. And all the questions and things that we had got answered. I mean, we just asked one question when we were doing it with Burge, because there's lots of people there. When Burge is actually going to be doing this session, people are actually going to be able to ask 3 questions. So that's really cool. So that'd be really nice. And we're also, another good thing that Burge does is she does guided meditations. So we're going to do a guided meditation in this session as well. And it's people, whenever we talk about spiritual and somebody says, oh, I can do a guided meditation, it all depends on how good you are at doing it. And everybody's got different levels. Pretty much everybody can do it, but not everybody can do what Burge can do. And so, I'm just absolutely blown away. I can't wait to be there, you see. And so I've got ulterior motives. But absolutely, it's just really cool. I mean, one thing that bugs me is when people try and do guided meditations and they're not spiritual, and they just do not bring in spirit. And you're sitting there thinking, well, what's going on? But you'll be able to all feel it for yourself. I know a lot of people here are very spiritual. So.
Absolutely. And the thing about that is when you're being guided, or it's kind of cool, because when they come in, or when we're doing a meditation, your consciousness is raised, and it's kind of cool, especially for people that are in tune with their own gifts, because everybody has gifts. Like I said, clairsentient, clairsavant, empath. There's a lot of different ways of bringing in information and expressing it, and what do you do with it, and how does it, what's the practicality of it, and not to be afraid of it, and how to protect yourself, and all of these little nuances that are normal, that we get when we're young. But some of us shut that down because we're afraid of it, or other people don't understand it, and we shut that part of us down. So we awaken, which I love, spiritual awakening circle. We awaken that connection. And that's what happened to you, Nikki, in essence, of being, you awakened this whole thing that's been there. It's always been there for you to access. It's just that, your people are not conscious of it, or they forget, But what I was going to say is, when we're doing this kind of work, it's cool, because people actually, if you have some kind of awareness of being in that space, you can hear what they're going to say before they say it, or you hear it in a different way, or you bring it in on a different level when you're present with that energy. And then when you go back and listen to the recording, you hear it in a whole different way.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah. Because when I'm in a presence like that, I actually feel it through me. They're sort of talking through me. It's, I'm not really listening to what they're actually saying. I'm actually hearing it through me. And you can't explain that, but, that's what happens. And it's very especially when it starts, it's very very cool.
You just soar, and like you said, you feel it on a whole nother level, or you get the information or experience on so many different dimensions, and like I said, different kind of emotions can come up, or the spiritual connections that basically get awakened, and your vortexes start opening up and all the chakras start aligning, and it's kind of cool. And then when you go, like I said, when you go back, you go, oh my God, I don't remember them saying that. What?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because another thing, and you can confirm whether this is true, what I understand, and maybe I'm wrong, is that when you're actually near somebody who is more spiritual, because that person has got more energy points actually open, it actually enables you to feel more. Is that correct?
Well, yes, and you have to be open to it for sure. So, the thing about that is, yes, of course, if you vibrate, because we all we're vibrational beings, right? So when we're vibrating out and we're vibrating this experience out, of course, it's going to affect people around you on that present level that are close to you. And yeah, you're going to feel it. And some people might feel it more than others, depending on their comfortable, they're being comfortable with really allowing that to come through. And you have to be mindful so that it doesn't blow out your circuits. And so a lot of people I know, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, a lot of people, forget that part about there's a gradient level on which you can receive energy, and you don't want to blow out your circuits, because then it's overwhelming. And then what do you do with that overwhelm? How do you adjust that? And so it's just a process of learning, and it's something that people have been doing. Human beings have been doing this ever since there were humans. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to feel safe and to feel. That's the other thing we do, is set up a safe, sacred place for you to be able to explore, because you have to have a feeling of safety in order for you to really appreciate.
Spiritual protection. Yeah, I knew that, because I wasn't expecting to do anything. So yes, I went up with no protection, and hello, where's the ground?
Yeah, you definitely you had an absolute intense spiritual awakening, absolutely, and it was just meant to be, and you allowed it. And therefore, look at what you've done in the short amount of time. But the thing I want to remind you and others is that you've had that within you the whole time.
Absolutely. Well, I walked into your I still remember now, it was raining, it was Fort Lauderdale, it was a okay hotel. I mean, it wasn't, it's just but nondescript, and I walked in, I thought, what the hell am I doing? And then I go in, and Robin Bearsden turns round and starts talking to me, and I can see these silver sparks coming out of her head, and I'm going, oh my God, what have I eaten? And this was before it even started. So, I thought, oh my God, this space is really, I didn't know that at the time, but obviously the space was really alive with energy.
Right. And that was the essence of being. And that's one of our that's our, main
course.
It's workshop, the courses that we do, but it's not set up to necessarily be that for everybody. Everybody gets different things, right? But it was not geared toward what I call the woo-woo class, which is the higher vibes thing. But people get different things, like I said, from their emotional, spiritual, physical, mental, and etheric awarenesses, and people get different things. So it's fascinating to me that you walked in and there it was.
Absolutely. Well, that is absolutely wonderful. I cannot wait for the 20th of February. So hopefully you guys will come and join us, and then you'll be able to see firsthand what Burge can do. And
just let me just say, it's, I'm just the vehicle, and everybody, like I said, the gifts are there for everybody to expand and appreciate and learn. And if you have questions, you can ask them ahead of time, and Nikki will set that up for you. And you'll be able to type in questions, or if you are not available, you'll get the recording and all of that. So there are a lot of ways to be able to experience this. And the cool thing about Shamanasta is a lot of times they just start talking, and they already know. and have already tapped into your higher self, and they already know what it is that you want to understand or learn or become more in tune with. And so a lot of times you don't even have to ask the questions. They just start answering it. It's kind of cool.
It is, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we leave?
Just can't wait to see you and play with you, and all is well. And I know that a lot of people are in maybe isolated these days, and the timing of all of this is extremely important. And a lot of people are looking for answers and looking for a sense of peace and calm, and to be able to know in their heart of hearts that all is well, and that whatever chaos or tragedy or drama or sadness or any of those aspects of I'm not sure what's going to happen next or the unknown, okay, if any of that's perhaps lingering and causing some frustrations or anxiety, or maybe you just are extremely happy and none of this is affecting you, that's wonderful too. So it's for everybody, but I know that I know for me, it brings a sense of calm, connection, for us to connect to spirit, to know that we are these spiritual beings, and that this is just one way to play with them. And I'm honored to be able to play with you guys.
Super. Well, thank you so much, and I'm sorry about our little technical problems, but we are okay. We're shaking about the place a bit as well, but anyway, never mind, all good. Okay, take care, and thank you very much, and thank you all for listening and watching, and it's so we really appreciate it. Okay, take care, everybody.